Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aqilah Vidia. In this opportunity, I will presenting my results of students' perspective of Hollywood movie influence into the lifestyle. Here is my outline of my presentation. There are introduction, literature review, research methods, results, and the last is discussion and conclusion. First, introduction. The construction of the world has changed. There is no more war. Previously, the actor of the international relations is only state, but now there are there are many actors of the international relations, such as personal, state, international organization, non-governmental organization, and many else. In achieving national interest, previously the state tended to use hard power; now it has shifted to using soft power, as stated by Joseph Nye. One of them is the US, through its film industry named Hollywood. The US government's relationship with the Hollywood industry is closely related, as Richard Grenier quotes, "In Hollywood's foreign policy, utopianism tempered in the national interest, Washington furiously needed the collaboration of the US film industry for propaganda objectives and the raising morals overseas and inland, while Hollywood completely hanged on the US government for reconquest and expansion of its former markets," which describes the symbiosis between the government and the Hollywood film industry. Darmawan Fauzia Tirta Sandi Hibatullah and A. 2015. Hollywood movies account for more than half of total box office receipts in major markets. Yale Global 2012. This research aims to determine the extent of Hollywood's influence on life as US soft diplomacy, especially for students, and to find out what aspects students are most interested in. Next is literature review. In the international relations, power is the main element, especially in terms of realism. As explained by Morgenthau, power is basically a struggle for power. Meanwhile, according to Joy, there are several types of power. There are hard and soft power. Soft power is as important as hard power. For the perspective of IR, the domination of the entertainment industry in the US is a manifestation of the soft power of that country. The US entertainment industry is clearly an embodiment of the youth of the soft power of this superpower. Hollywood often releases action movies, one of which is Java Hit. The film shows a scene of chasing terrorists who have fled to Indonesia. With such a good packaging, including the use of visual effects, it will attract people from various countries to watch the films. Next is research methods. The researcher used a quantitative study with questionnaires as an instrument to find out the perception of Indonesian college students about Hollywood movies' influence as a tool of US soft diplomacy into the lifestyle. Questionnaires is a data collection technique that is done by spreading set written question or statement to the respondents for collecting their collective responses. The participants in the study were 20 Indonesian college students from various universities and departments on fifth semester. The survey could be filled out via online by this address, and the researcher spread this link through WhatsApp. The results. From the table 1, we know that Hollywood is a tool of US diplomacy. 55% of the respondents said yes, that they know that Hollywood is a tool of US diplomacy, and the 45% didn't know that. And it is also tell us about uh, 35% of the respondents know that US run their hegemonic power uh, through Hollywood movies, and most of them, which 65% didn't know that US run their hegemonic power through Hollywood movies. From the table 2, we know that uh, majority of the respondents are watching movies, watching Hollywood movies once a month. Uh, there are 60%, and the 30% are one until three times a week, and the 10% is every day to watching Hollywood movies. From table 3, we know that the favorite genre of the respondents is action movies for the most, and 5% of each for horror and comedy movies. The table 4, we know that uh, the most interesting to watch Hollywood movies is the story from the movies, which is 60%, and the 30% is because visual effect, and the 10% is the is because the actor of the or the actress. No one of the respondents are answered because their fashion. Now let's move to the discussion. The result represent of the US power through Hollywood movies. Most of the respondents are like watching Hollywood movies without forced. They also like the movies because the story and the visual effect. But any of them like watching Hollywood movies because of the acting from the actor or the actress. This result shows that US is succeed to run their diplomacy and hegemonic power. One of the example is Captain America. The other discussion is these results are supported by Rahmi 2016 that the US is the dominant force driving the hegemony system in the international system. During World War One and Two, America produced films so that the public could support its involvement in the war. After 9/11 tragedy, US began producing films with the theme of fighting terror crimes to restore the good image of the US as a superpower. The example is Olympus Has Fallen. From the film, it can be seen that the US wants to show its power without us knowing it. This shows that the US through Hollywood has succeeded in carrying out its hegemony and soft diplomacy. Now the last one is the conclusion. The findings showed that 100% of the respondents are like watching Hollywood movies and feeling happy. 55% of them reported that they know Hollywood as a tool of US diplomacy. 65% of them didn't feel that Hollywood movies is used by the US to run their hegemony. The study also showed most of the respondents are like action movies and interested with the story. Through Hollywood, people are willing to stand in line for buy cinema tickets. This phenomenon not only benefits America, but also have negative impact on us, such as being consumptive people. In order not to be a bad impact for us, we can gradually keep up with not always following trends. We also can imitate America to be more able to develop the country's film industry to become big industry like Hollywood. This study is hoped to be of assistance to future researchers as well as people who want to know more about Hollywood's influence as a tool of US diplomacy. Therefore, it is recommended to further researchers be able to achieve maximum results using a combination of questionnaires and interview. Also, data collection time can be increased. Maybe that's all of my presentation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.